Hey everybody, how's it going? Canadian Brew Channel, it's Sean here. Of course, you guys know that if you watch my channel, and I know it's been a long time since I did a brewing video, a long time, and it's been a long time since I also did any beer review videos. That's gonna change, but what I wanted to do today is show you my new system. This here is made by Clawhammer Supply. This is their new system that just came out late last year. This is a 240 volt, 30 amp electric brew system that comes with this 20 gallon container here, my brew kettle. It also comes with a pump down below, and it comes with that system right there, which is the brains of it. This thing's amazing. All I have to do is flip the switch. It shows me the temperature from the temperature probe here of the temperature of water. It's fast, I love it. My hood up above now, I hardly have to use it at all, which is great because I'm not on propane anymore. My wife's happy about that. And it's so easy to dial this thing in. So right now it's at 127 degrees. And this is the basket, and it's got about 10 pounds of grain in it. It's hardly even filling this thing at all. So today I'm gonna do, probably try and mimic one of my favorite beers, which is Naughty Neighbor by Nickelbrook. And it's a crisp, clean, like an IPA, or actually it's more like a pale ale, okay? So I'm gonna do that today, and I'm gonna show you the system as we brew. So now, to get started, this is how easy it is. I've already sanitized everything. Everything's all hooked up. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the heater on. I've got it so it's gonna go to 160, which is my dough in. So all I have to do is come up to it, press the heat. That's it. That's it. Now it's gonna start to heat up the water. I've got my water in here right now. I've got about 9 gallons in here. I'm shooting to do about a 6-gallon batch at about 5%. So I don't know if you can pick up on this, if you can hear it, but that's the heaters. That's how quiet it is. It's amazing. And I don't need this hood on yet because there's no steam yet. So for now, I'm gonna just cut back to when this is ready to dough in, and then that's what we're gonna do. So see you in a couple minutes. All right, guys, that was like 5 minutes. And the really cool thing about this is you can adjust this to be at 100% to get up to a temperature really quickly, or you can adjust it to 50%, 30%, whatever you want so you don't overshoot your temp. I have it at 80 right now, and it seems to be pretty damn good. Come up and not go over the 160, which is what I want. Now, I'm gonna mash at about 147, 148 to get a crisp, more clean taste to my beer, lighter, not as bodied, but I have to dough in at a certain temperature because when I drop all this in, it's gonna drop. So I calculated that to be about 160. So it's at 160 now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change this to go down to 147, and then I'm gonna lower this into my pot here. Now what I've done is, I've seen on a lot of the Clawhammer videos that they'll have this already in there because they wanna heat this up, which is fine. That's why I've adjusted this up to 160, but then they'll pour the grains in and stir them. But I've seen other guys that have systems where they call it underletting, where they pump the water up underneath the grain so they don't have to stir it. But I've got my basket hanging from pulley system, so why not just slowly lower it in and I don't have to mix it and see how it goes. I've never done this before, by the way. This is the first time I've ever brewed with this system. So you're seeing it. First time that I've ever used it. I have tested it for leaks to make sure it works, but this is the first time, guys. So this is like really exciting for me. It could be catastrophic. Knocking on wood, I hope it isn't. But now this is what we're gonna do. I've got it at 160. I'm gonna drop this down to 147 or 48. Let's see how easy that is to do. There you go, set 148. Take my top off, and these are pretty cool because they can hang. The lid hangs pretty good on there, and I've got this on wheels so I can roll this over without dropping that. We'll just set that there for a sec. There, right over top of that, and then I'm just gonna slowly lower this down in with my pulleys. And this would be like underletting, but I'm slowly gonna put this in, let the water soak up in the grain very slowly. I can smell it already soaking up into the grain. And this pulley system, by the way, a lot of guys who do this is called a brew in a bucket, or there's brew in a bag. This is gonna be really heavy when it's full of water. So to lift it up, I put this pulley system on to make it a lot easier for myself. Slowly bringing it in. So far, so good. The grain is soaking up the water just like I wanted. Oh yeah, looks good, man. Cool. And that's it. I'm just gonna unhook this. Let's set it out of the way for a minute. Push this in place. Or pop it this way. This lid now goes on. And I can now slide this. I can leave it here if I want, actually, because I'm gonna have to lift this off after. But it's now going to be sitting there at 148. Now with the pump it comes with, this connector goes on top. I now turn the pump on, which is easy. Turn on my fittings, hit the pump. And now what it's gonna do is it's gonna circulate the water, and that's gonna help to get all the grain soaked completely. And what it will also do is give you an even temperature. So this is probably gonna start dropping a bit because we've now put this in the water, and it's now circulating it to give us a nice even amount. So we've dropped down like 4 degrees. Like I said, I've never used the system yet, so I'll have to guess at how much a system drops down to my old system, where I knew with my old system I could nail it to what my temperature was for my strike water temperature, and I would get within a degree of where I want to go. But right now, this is the first time I've used it, so it's going to sit now for an hour. It's just going to get down to about 148. When that's done, we'll come back. I'll see you in a few. Cheers. Okay, we're back. It's been about just over an hour and a bit. It's hard to tell exactly how accurate the percentage of what I'm gonna get out of the sugars I'm gonna get, because I added some water actually to cool it down a little bit at first. I overshot my temperature, my fault, because I don't know the system yet. But I'm at around 1040 right now, and I've got too much water anyway, so that's gonna come up. So that is what my reading is right now, is 1040. But now we're going to basically take the grain out, and then we're gonna start to boil the wort. So what I'm gonna first do is I'm gonna turn the pump off, and I'm gonna take my quick connect off here, and lift this up, get some of this out. I'm gonna close this off so it doesn't spill everywhere. I'm gonna take my lid off. Just sit this down. Gonna hook up my pulley system. And this is the first test to see what happens. Start to lift this up. Just let it slowly drain. And the system that I got, they all come with these clips that you basically hang in here to hold the basket up while it drains. With this pulley, it makes it pretty easy. Slide that around the back. Hold on back here. Actually lift this up a bit. There. This one here. And I can just let that rest. And now I'm just gonna let that sit for maybe 5 minutes to drain out all of the wort out of this. And then we'll get into, I'm actually gonna start to heat this up as well while that's dripping. So all I have to do is I'm gonna leave the pump off right now because I've got it disconnected. And for the heat, I'm gonna set it up to say 205 for now. There we go. So now this is gonna start to heat up, so I'm not having to wait for it to get up to temperature while this is draining. And it's gonna, I think that my whole brew day is gonna be probably an hour shorter than normally is, and the cleanup's easier. So far, I'm liking this system a lot. Thank you, Clawhammer. See you guys in a few. Cheers. Now I've got this thing dialed in pretty good. It's a little different to get used to this because it's not like my other system. I've never brewed electric before either. So there's some things you gotta tweak, or you can just leave the control when it comes to you to get that rolling boil you're looking for, which I now have. And so now I'm gonna add my first addition of 1 ounce of hops, the Cascade. And in they go into my spider, my hop spider. And now we're gonna let it boil for an hour. And then after that, we're gonna cool it down. And I'll show you a cool thing you can do with this system on how to cool the wort down to your pitching temperature of about 68 degrees. I'll see you then. Hey guys, back. Okay, so it's been over an hour. I'm gonna show you how to cool this thing down, but I'm kind of laughing myself because I thought this would go smooth. I've done probably over 100 batches of beer, all grain, and now it didn't go smooth. Did silly things like when I was disconnecting some of these pipes here, I forget to shut off a valve and have beer or wort on the floor. I forgot to put some lactic acid in to take a pH test. I did do it, but I forgot at the time because I'm looking at this new system and I'm all like, wow, this is awesome. What else did I forget to do? At the end of the boil, the last 15 minutes, you should put Whirlfloc in. Whirlfloc helps to clear out the beer for later on, and it helps things settle out in the wort. And also I put yeast nutrient in there. Well, I forgot those two things, so I had to do that again. And then I was missing a clamp that I misplaced. It came with the kit for one of these hoses, so I had to go get one. So it's been one of those days, but you know what? I still love this system. So far, it's been great. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the plate chiller here to cool the wort. And the way I'm gonna do that is we've got the water on right now. I'm gonna go turn it on over here to get the water running through the plate chiller. And I'm then gonna run the pump and have the wort go through the plate chiller. I'm gonna put it back into here, and then I'm gonna drop this down to about 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And the reason I wanna do that is I wanna throw some hops in for a hop stand at 180 degrees. And then once it sits there for another 15 minutes, I'm gonna chill this down using this wort chiller again in this pot until it gets down to about 70 degrees. And then I'm gonna use the pump to pump it into my fermenter. So this is gonna be a fun time. So I'm gonna go turn on my water. Yeah, turn on my pump with the hose here, put this in, turn on my valve. And we'll see how long that takes. And I'm definitely going to time how long this takes. And once I do that, we'll get back and I'll give you a time on how fast this drops, but looks like it's dropping pretty quick right now. Guys, I'm gonna say this right now, holy shit. It dropped down to like 162. I got the heater back on. In less than 2 minutes, it went from like 195 or 200, whatever it was started at, down to 162 in less than 2 minutes. Like I couldn't believe it. I watched it drop down. As soon as I seen it get to about 182, I shut the pump off. And then when I recirculated it with the water off, it dropped down to 162. So unbelievable. So this time what I'm doing now is I've shut the water off. I'm not going through the heat exchanger. I'm now just cycling it through the pump again. And I've got the heater on to bring it to 175. And the reason I'm doing that is I want the hops. I actually just added some hops in here. I don't think I showed that. I put some Citra in here for a hop stand, and I want it to sit at 175 for about 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna drop it down to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm gonna throw it in the fermenter, pitch my yeast, and that's gonna be my video for today. And then later on, when this beer is ready, we're gonna have a beer tasting of this beer to see how it comes out. But I just have to say right now, this system is pretty cool. I'm really liking it. So I'll see you guys back in 15 minutes. See you then. Okay guys, it's been about 15-20 minutes. I've had the hops in here, basically doing like a hop stand, gives it a little bit of flavor. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop this temperature down to about 70 degrees, and then we're gonna put it in the fermenter. So I'm gonna turn my water on. And then I am going to move all this stuff around, because now we have to put this all through the heat exchanger. Through here. And I'm just gonna lift this lid. Now, good, let's turn this back on. Make sure my pumps, everything's connected. Turn my pump on. And just gonna let this sit and see how fast this goes down, because I was really impressed with how fast this fell. It's at like 100 and what are we at now? 169.2. Now we're down to 168. So this is gonna go pretty quick, but I'm just gonna stop the video for right now, and when I'm at pitching temperature, I'll show you that I'm gonna throw it in the fermenter. Hey guys, okay, so it took like 5 minutes to go from 175 to below 68. I shut the water off when it got to about 68.5, and I just left the pump running. It's dropped down to 65. So I'm just gonna turn the pump off. Pretty straightforward. Then I'm going to give this a bit of a spray with some Star San, kill off any bacteria on here. And I'm gonna then put this into the fermenter, which I've already, of course, cleaned. It's been, it's had Star San on as well. Then I'm gonna turn the pump back on. And look at that, I'm filling up my fermenter. I'm gonna let it just aerate a little bit. I also let it aerate when it was in here. And yeah, I'll come back to you when I'm pitching. Now all the wort is in the fermenter, captured about 7.5 gallons. And I'm now going to pitch the yeast. I've already sanitized the top of this yeast here. You know, it's not really important that everything is completely disinfected, but you don't want to have anything going in here that shouldn't. So we pitch the yeast now. There we go. I now have, this here is glycol chiller, and I have a bucket of ice water in my fridge, and I connect it to this chiller, and I can dial in to 68 degrees, which I have it set right now. And right now it's 62.6 is what the wort is. So just drop this in. Put the collar on. Connect up my hoses. There, and then I plug in my pump for the cooling right there, and that's it. Right now it's trying to heat, but nothing's connected for heating it, so it's going to keep it at 68 degrees Fahrenheit. My biggest investment I first did was, once I got into brewing for all grain, was that fermenter. Believe it or not, when you ferment any kind of beer, you have to have temperature control within a degree or two. That makes the biggest difference in how your beer is going to turn out. So instead of buying this system, which I'm really liking right now, Clawhammer Supply, thank you very much. That system also having a fermenter that you can adjust the temperature that you're fermenting at really helps a lot. It does what's called repeatability, so I can make the same beer over and over and over. That fermenter you can do 15 gallons in. This here is meant to do up to a 10-gallon batch. I think you can tweak it higher than that, up to about a 12. So these two married together work really well. I just want to say this has been a great brew day. Again, Clawhammer Supply, thank you very much. I'm hoping that anyone who sees this video, if they want to post anything, please subscribe. I'll answer any questions that I've figured out so far. I did find a few things that I had to tweak on the control that once I read the manual, understood it, I got my boil and everything else to go the way I wanted. So I'm really happy with this system. I think there's trade-offs and everything, but I don't think I lost anything in efficiency. And the cleaning, there's less parts to clean, so it's going to be for a faster brew day. Today wasn't a fast brew day because I had to record everything, but that's cool. This thing is awesome. I love this system, and I will be using it many, many times over. And like I said, the next video I'm going to do is probably some tastings, then I'm going to do one of this beer. But again, Clawhammer Supply, thank you very much. Cheers, guys.